Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing.
All right. Saturday is December the 8th, National Brownie Day, National Pretend to be a Time Traveler Day, National Rhubarb Vodka Day, and Skywarm Recognition Day. I like that, pretend to be a time traveler. We should do that. We should go out and talk to people like, what year is it?
I'd like to try rhubarb vodka.
I'm here from 1912. Also, Sunday is National Pastry Day and Wear Willie Day. So, there you go. Got all that going on. I also have some quotes for the weekend. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. John C. Maxwell. I like John. Also, Dr. Henry Link says, we generate fears while we sit. We overcome them by action. Fear is nature's way of warning us to get busy.
I like that one.
Yeah, that is good. And in addition to that, I've got Kevin Werbach joining us. He's the author of a book called The Blockchain. Going to chat with him later in the show.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix.org.
Time now for Is It a Golf Course or Is It a Rehab Center? Heidi, tell me what you think. Westwood in Farmington, Connecticut. Is that a golf course?
I'm going to say golf course.
And you are correct. It
that
is
sounds
a golf
like
course.
That definitely sounds
Hey,
more
love
like
it.
a
Let's
golf
go to
course.
Westwood and get in 9 holes. Is that right? Did I say anything right? Probably not. Why are you laughing at me? Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. Timeforrehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com. And this is your brain on drugs. A Kentucky woman has been arrested after being accused of letting young children smoke marijuana in her apartment. It's not good. Janet Cates, Lexington, Kentucky, busted Monday on a charge of unlawful transaction with a minor. She allegedly let her neighbor's children, 8 and 9, smoke pot while inside her residence. The children told police that her boyfriend Joshua Thomas made them drink mouthwash and sprayed them down with cologne to mask the smell of the marijuana. According to the news outlet, police are still on the hunt for Mr. Thomas.
Oh, my gosh.
How upset would you be if your kids came home?
Oh, you have no idea.
And you found out that's where they had been and that's what they had been doing.
Hell hath no fury.
It would just be a bad
It would be very, very, very bad.
It would be a really bad day. We'll put it that way.
I don't know that authorities would necessarily be the ones handling it.
Well, they'd probably be after you for beating somebody up. Anyway, I have a link to that story if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes under the Brain on Drugs segment. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, lawyer Emily Simpson said she prepared for the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion just like she would prepare for a trial. So, that's kind of interesting. Isn't that, I think it's kind of sad that you'd have to prepare like you're preparing for a trial. What if you're going to a reunion, isn't it just to be able to say, hey, how have you been, man? But apparently there's a lot more to it than that. Ozzy Osbourne, he's not doing reality shows anymore, is he? I haven't watched any of that.
Well,
I think is he back now?
I don't know. I want to say that I read that maybe something was coming again. I don't know. Maybe not.
He had a bunch of concerts scheduled in October. They had to be canceled after he got an infection from a manicure. So
Ozzy Osbourne is getting manicured.
Yeah, and he got an infection from a manicure. I don't know where you get an infection from a manicure, but Ozzy can tell you.
How would you like to walk in for a manicure and Ozzy Osbourne?
Anyway, this has been Big Screen, Little Screen. I'm moving on. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now your scoop of the day brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Thanks, Heidi.
I did not do that.
Finally.
That was not me.
I've been trying to convince her to, and she just won't do it. She's not a team player. That's right on her shirt says, not a team player. California police say a Tesla drove 7 miles on autopilot when the driver passed out drunk behind the wheel. Wow. That's not good, is it? I guess if it's on autopilot and it didn't hit anything, that's kind of cool. But
I think there's going to be lots more of that. If there's a thing that it's a self-driving car,
yeah, people are going
to be doing that. And then how do you get them with driving under the influence if they're not driving?
I don't know. A Kenya man needed to have emergency surgery after a cell phone was stuck in his rectum. He was trying to smuggle
it. Killed him.
He was trying to smuggle. He was trying to smuggle a cell phone into prison. What? First of all, if you were doing that, would you want to use that cell phone once it came out? I just don't understand that. I like my cell phone a lot. I use it a bunch. I mute it most of the time while we're in here. Heidi doesn't usually do that. If you ever hear a phone go off, most likely it was hers. But even though I love it as much as I do, I would never do that. I sure hope
to take it in case you wanted to shoot the
You can't say that on the radio. Heidi, stop it. Why do I even give her the opportunity? I hope it was a small cell phone, not one of those Samsung Notes. I mean, although it was stuck and he had to have emergency surgery to get it removed. So we're moving on. Let's just stop talking about that and go to the other end. So from there to the mouth. Think about this funky flavored candy cane story, Heidi. Would you try a candy cane that is flavored like gravy?
No.
Well,
no.
Then you are not the right person. Gravy-flavored candy canes are crossing the line in the food circles these days. There are people that are going, no, that's just too much. I wouldn't do that.
That's disgusting.
They have them available, though. And if that doesn't sound good to you, how about a dill pickle candy cane?
No.
No?
No.
No dill pickle candy cane?
I don't even like the...
cherry candy canes?
I
like those.
No, I won't have those either. I want just a peppermint candy cane. I don't like any of the weird Starburst ones. Yuck.
So they also have a wasabi-flavored candy cane.
No,
None of these?
That's disgusting.
I thought for sure you were going to go for some of these.
No,
they're all available apparently. I've got a link to that story. It is just bizarre. And we're going to end with this. It's going to take a little bit. Americans' favorite holiday treats plus restaurant seasonal goodies in a survey which reveals the treats Americans love the most state by state. We're not going to do the state by state, but I have a link if you want to read them all. They surveyed 1,000 Americans and said, what's your favorite holiday delicacy? The winner, pumpkin pie. 1/3 of Americans said their favorite holiday treat, numero uno, pumpkin pie. What is your favorite holiday treat, Heidi? Should I give you the rest of the ones on the list, or do you want to try one on your own?
Well, I like holiday for Thanksgiving or Christmas because they're different.
Okay, pumpkin pie, 33%, eggnog, 18%, peppermint bark, 16%.
Oh, I love peppermint bark.
Gingerbread, 13%, fruit cake, 11%. Really? I didn't know anybody ate those. I see them all the time.
I didn't know anybody ate those either.
I worked at a grocery store. We sold them, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, we wouldn't get a new shipment. They sat on the shelf for a whole year, and we continued to sell them. I'm like, that is disgusting. And then candy canes, 9%. That was on the bottom of the list. But if it was dill pickle flavor, maybe.
Yuck.
I've got a link to both of those stories in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Are you trying to find the perfect gift for someone with a good sense of humor? FunkyMonkeyShirts.com has a good selection of funny t-shirts and more. Some with Christmas themes. One that even replaces the ugly Christmas sweater for your next party. Find some silly shirts at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Also, learn how you can sell your own designs to make some extra Christmas cash. There's a link at the bottom of the page at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We have a special guest joining us today. Kevin Werbach is the author of The Blockchain and the New Architecture of Trust. It's a new book that just recently came out. And Kevin, now this is something that 10, maybe 20 years ago, nobody would know what in the world that even means, because this blockchain and the new architecture of trust, this is all kind of new stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, the technology was first developed 10 years ago by some mysterious person named Satoshi Nakamoto, who put a paper out on the internet on Halloween 2008. Other people picked it up and started developing the technology and building on it. And there's been an explosion of innovation as people realize that what seemed initially like a fairly obscure new idea actually had tremendous potential, because it's a fundamentally new way to exchange value online in a decentralized way.
So this is kind of the backbone of when people hear about Bitcoin, which I understand that's just one version of it, but any of the digital currencies, this is kind of the backbone that makes all of that work, isn't it?
Yeah, blockchain is a family of technologies for decentralized trust. So there are all sorts of situations where we want to do something as individuals, or especially companies want to do something. They don't fully trust each other, but they need to exchange information. They need to exchange goods and services. They need to believe what they're hearing. And how do you do that if you don't necessarily trust the other party, if you don't necessarily trust some intermediary in the middle, maybe you don't even trust the government, or maybe it's just that there's tremendous overhead and cost in that whole trust infrastructure in the middle. So the idea of blockchain is to create a situation where you can trust the output. So Bitcoin, as you say, was the first example. Bitcoin's a cryptocurrency. It's designed to work like money. So if I give you a coin, peer-to-peer, how do you know that that's a real coin? How do you know I haven't taken the same coin and already sent it to someone else?
Yeah.
Without having a bank to check with in the middle, or any kind of mint to check with in the middle. And Bitcoin has this ingenious technique where there are these parties called miners who actually are doing all of the work to make that trustworthy. And they're doing it actually because they win a reward. If they get the right to validate the transaction, they actually get paid in Bitcoin. So they're doing their own work to make our transaction trustworthy and validated. That was the starting point. And now many organizations, including lots of the most powerful and biggest companies in the world, have adopted this kind of approach because they realize that this situation of wanting to exchange value without depending on individual trust is incredibly powerful.
You said this was kind of developed 10 years ago. So when you think about many things 10 years in, usually they're not quite all the way there. Where do you see this going in the future? Do you kind of have an idea of I right in the title of your book, The Blockchain and the New Architecture of Trust? I'm assuming that you probably see a bright future for this, don't you?
Yeah, it's very immature. The point you made is a very important one. This is a market that's growing very fast. So these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, in some cases, Bitcoin is worth roughly $100 billion, and the cryptocurrency market briefly last year when it spiked up was worth something like $750 billion. But that's just speculation. That's just people buying and selling these things in the hopes that they're going to go up. It takes time to build out this kind of technology. I was very involved in the early days of Internet policy. I ran Internet policy for the Federal Communications Commission in the early 1990s, and we were sure the Internet was going to change everything. But that was a time when there were about 30 million people in the entire world on the Internet. There were no smartphones. People were coming up with these applications like Pets.com that all crashed and failed. And if you had looked at the market then, you would have said, well, there's nothing here. This is really early. But if you looked at the underlying functions and you looked at where the adoption was happening, you looked at what kinds of problems were being solved, you would realize that sooner or later we get over that hump. And that's what we're seeing now with blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Again, major companies like IBM and Microsoft, big technology companies investing heavily to overcome the basic challenges, thousands of startups all around the world pushing on the technology, and then tremendous experimentation. A lot of these new startups and applications that are built on these platforms will fail. That's the way innovation works. But the basic idea is so powerful that I have tremendous confidence it will work. I mean, just think about the world we live in today. There's a pervasive crisis of trust. We don't have trust in government. We don't have trust in the media. We don't have trust in companies. And so if it's possible to engage in transactions, and whether those transactions are paying money to your friends or moving ships across a global logistics network around the world. If it's possible to do that without all the inefficiencies and dependencies of centralized trust, that's a massive home run. That will be transformative in the way that the Internet has been transformative. But it's going to take some time, and we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time right now to chat with us about this, and also thank you for putting out the book. The book is called The Blockchain and the New Architecture of Trust. Our guest today, Kevin Werbach. Kevin, thank you again, sir.
Absolutely. Glad to be on the show.
And the book is available right now. We're going to throw a link in our show notes to make it really easy to find at johnandheidishow.com.
If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Barry Manilow is a dirty, rotten liar.
Why?
Because he sings a song, I write the songs that make the whole world sing. He didn't write it. He didn't even write that song. He recorded it.
The song is not about him. The song is about music. Music writes the songs that make the whole world sing, not Barry Manilow.
I am music.
And I write the songs.
So
don't mess with me. I'm a fan of I know these things.
Before he recorded it, Barry didn't even think it was a particularly good song. He didn't really like it. He recorded it. It's one of his biggest hits.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's a fun fact
I love Barry.
Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
FreshPatch.com is making dogs like me happy. They send out real grass pads for us to use indoors. Now when it's cold outside, I can go inside. And when I've used up the real grass patch, the mailman brings me a new Fresh Patch. It's the best idea since doggy treats. Convince your mommy to try it today. I suggest you try Puppy Dog Eyes. FreshPatch.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO.
Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day, and it is pandiculate. Pandiculate. What do you think pandiculate it is? P-A-N-D-I-C-U-L-A-T-E. Pandiculate.
I couldn't tell you.
To stretch the torso and upper limbs, typically accompanied by a yawn. So one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, that feels good.
Oh, now I want to.
Oh, man. Pandiculating. Oh, that was not intentional, but pandiculating is awesome. This is today's grandiloquent word. Now I need a nap.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix.org.
Time now for some weird news. I'm just going to tell you, we get some bizarre stuff here. A man was arrested after police say he used a scooter to try to break into a bank in Nashville. What? That doesn't make any sense. It says here they went to a burglary call. They saw a dude identified as Curtis Causey swinging a bird scooter at the door. They arrived in time to see him trying to run from the scene. They managed to take him into custody. They later identified him as the suspect. He was being booked. As police said, he claimed he would run from the scene, would run from the police every time. I'm not going to make it easy for you to arrest me, he kept shouting. He was charged with criminal impersonation. What? I don't know what that is. Vandalism and evading arrest. The incident caused $2,000 worth of damage to the door, and he broke some patio furniture. The scooter was also destroyed. So, what a weird story. Mm-hmm. I don't understand that. None of that. I have a link if you want to read it. Maybe it makes more sense to you. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
I'm not going to do it. You might as well not point at me.
I keep pointing, thinking that she'll make a monkey noise. I'm going to keep doing it until you do. Like I said earlier in the program, she's not a team player. I'm going to get the Funky Monkey Shirts people to make you a shirt that says, not a team player. Going to make that
I'm not
happen.
a team player.
I know you're not. Police say that a Florida man was upset that his baked potato was undercooked, so he stabbed a woman in the head with a fork.
That seems logical.
36-year-old Kenneth Crumpton was busted on a felony aggravated battery with a weapon charge in connection with a 12:30 a.m. attack inside a residence. He's being held in the Nassau County Jail in lieu of a $25,000 bond. They say that he was displeased that the preparation of his baked potato wasn't quite done, so he repeatedly stabbed a victim in the head with a fork.
Cow.
Police noted that there was blood visible on the woman's head and that she had suffered multiple stab wounds, but during the questioning, Mr. Crumpton said, I didn't stab her. I threw the fork in her general direction. It might have glanced her head.
Repeatedly.
Glanced her head? I wonder if he meant like grazed her head.
Probably meant grazed, but
either way.
It doesn't happen over and over and over.
The fork kept bouncing on her head. That's what it was. She was not seriously injured. She declined a police officer of medical assistance. She's like, I'm good. This happens here all the time. Sadly, it probably does. I think she needs to get the heck out of there. That is just a bad thing. That is crazy. I don't understand that. But thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Time now for fake news or Florida. This is where I try to trick my beautiful bride over here by giving her either a true story that happened in the great state of Florida, or we make something up just to trick her. What are you going to do, Heidi? You going to go with fake news or Florida? Or do you want to hear the story first?
I would probably like to hear the story first.
An Orlando, Florida couple was arrested after having nookie in an empty classroom on back-to-school night. Fake news or Florida?
I'm going to say fake news.
Dang it, you're too good at this. Yeah, it was fake news. I mean, good job, Heidi. I'm so proud of you. What are you going to write?
I only know that because you tried to talk me into that this year for Taylor's school.
No, I did not. No, that did not. That's fake news as well. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Time now for some good news. Our good news comes your way courtesy of Odiva, the monthly subscription service just for the ladies. All of the details at radiosavings.com. This might quite possibly be my favorite good news story in a while, Heidi.
Okay.
Headline: when homeless man finds $17,000 outside of a food bank, he turned it in so he could help feed others. How great is that?
Aww.
A homeless man stopped by his local food bank for a meal. This was back in August, and he found a lot more than food sitting outside their door. He originally planned to grab some of the free baked goods that they leave outside the door at the summer food bank for people to take when the place is closed at night. And he saw a brown bag sitting outside the door. He grabbed the thing, and he started looking in there. He realized, wait a minute, it's a bunch of $20 bills.
Wow.
Collectively, it was $17,000.
Wow.
Needless to say, it would have made a huge difference in his life. And there was nobody around that would have known if he walked away with it. But the 32-year-old says that he knew the money would be far more better used. That's not what he said. It would serve more people. I was
far
the one.
More better used.
I'm the one that said the more better thing. I'm John. I get paid to talk for a living. The money would serve more people at the food bank. So he waited until a volunteer showed up. Anita Miller arrived to open the facility. She said there are a lot of people who would have just taken it. But he's not that person. She called. She was shocked to hear what she found had been left outside the door. She immediately called the police. It says they reviewed the security footage. They were not able to identify who dropped off the package. After waiting the necessary 90 days for somebody to claim the cash, they'll turn it over to the food bank, and they'll honor Mr. Booth for his compassion. So Miller says that she's been sharing the cash with Booth by giving him portions of the donations in the form of gift cards. Though he lives in a tent in a nearby forest, he's turned down the offer of a shelter. although he does accept her gifts of winter clothing. I think it's just such an amazing story that he did that.
Cow.
So here he's living in a tent in a forest. He's
he
homeless.
must not want shelter. I mean, if he's turning down her offer of shelter,
I think it's really cool that he's saying, hey,
maybe he
I
just
want
wants
to
be in
else.
a tent. Some people are like that.
Yeah, I think it's a cool story. I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it, and I think it's just a touching story, and I think it's an amazing thing that happened. All of the details. Oh, there is a GoFundMe page, by the way. Some residents of that community said, let's help this guy. They want to help him out. He has a Volkswagen van that is kind of busted down, and they said, hey, let's help him get that all taken care of. So I've got a link to all of it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.